well, that was dumb. I clicked the go live button and I didn't go live. Well, that didn't make a lot of sense. Here I am talking to myself. Yeah, so anyway, it's been super cold around here. Right now it's 27 degrees and snowing. It's been down as low as 22 degrees this week. We've gotten about 4.5 inches of snow so far. And that's made it miserable because I got things outside I want to be doing. But we'll get there. That's pretty bad. I said I'd be late for my own funeral. By George, I did. I was supposed to start at 8. I couldn't get my computer to navigate with the microphone or the camera. Had to restart the browser in order to get that going. So I came in a minute late on that, and I thought I was all set up to be live, and I wasn't even on, my live stream wasn't even started. Bummer. Yeah, so I'll go back to where I was stated then. I've lost all of my chickens so far. And I know it's a Fisher cat. I've seen it. Actually, I had all I could do not to pull my gun up and shoot through the window to kill it because I had a good view of it. Yeah, I'll wait for some other people to come back in again, I guess. Hello, Charlene. How you doing? All right, so anyway, my thinking is, I don't know if it's possible. My chicken run is 8 foot by 16 foot. And it's held together with these big metal clasps. I can't tear it all apart because I've got 2 layers of fencing all the way around it to keep everything out of it. But my hope is that I can figure out a way to jack the thing up and put some wheels underneath it. Of course, I have to take one end of it apart, which means I got to cut the fencing to do it. But take one end of it apart, get the chicken coop out of the run, and then close that end back up, put it on some kind of wheels, and take it from where it's at right now. It's off this back end of the house, and take it all the way around the house, all the way around my garage, and bring it to the backyard. And hi, Sean, how you doing? And because I've been dealing with everything with my chickens, it's a Fisher cat. I've done everything I can not to shoot through the window to kill the damn thing. But my thinking is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put a cement pad down and leave the center of the pad down about 1.5 inches to 2 inches with a high rail all the way around the outside edge of it for the coop to set on top of. That way I can take the sod and put it back into the chicken run. And then put the chicken coop back in and seal it all back up again. Keep anything from being able to dig underneath it. And then once that's done, then I don't have to worry about anything else getting in there, digging out the bottom of the coop or bottom of the run and getting into my chickens. I'm mad about it because I've lost every chicken I've had so far. I think I've had about 15 so far. And some of them were my friends, you know what I'm saying? They were nice to me. So that makes me kind of upset. But it is what it is. I have been in talks this week because one of my future projects is going to be putting up a new garage. I have been in talk with just recently. Actually, today I started the conversation with him. He's got a forestry mulcher, and he goes out and does work for people. So I asked him to come out to the house. I gave him my phone number and address. And I asked him to come out to the house. It's located right nearby, actually. Have him come out and give me an idea what he'll charge me because my back lawn goes downhill. It's straight out for about maybe 20 feet. And then after that, it drops down probably another 30 feet down. And then it goes out a long ways before it gets to the cornfield out back. And I own all the way up to the edge of the cornfield. So I'm in talks with him, bring him out, have him look that area over. All the trees that grow in that area, we've been dropping them. So they're still there, but they're growing back up again. So I want to have them come in with that forestry mulcher and just mulch everything, you know, what's already on the ground and what's standing, mulch everything down. So then I can start bringing in trucks of loads of fill, start filling in over that bank to bring it up to level. And then once I get everything ready to do that, I mean, it's going to be a lot of money. There's no doubt in my mind about it. But once I get that all leveled out, then I can build my new garage on the level spot that we just created. And it won't be in the way of anything. Actually, it won't even affect any of my yard space because that's part of my lawn or part of my property. But it's not yard space. It goes downhill. There's no barn foundation back there and all kinds of stuff. So my thinking is I can just fill in our foundation all the way down to the edge of the cornfield, and that'll give me plenty of room. I'm not looking for a huge garage. Actually, the one I'm looking at is 20 by 25, and I'm getting it made by a company called Viking. Let's see if I can pull up a picture of what the barn actually, or garage is actually going to look like. Yeah, I guess the closest to come is that picture right there where my finger is, that one there. That's what the garage will look like. And they quoted me a price of about $11,000 for the garage, and that's to deliver it, build it in place, have it all ready to go. It's another $9,000 for having the pad put down to have the building built onto, which I will do. So I'm looking at about 25 grand for doing the garage, counting bringing in fill, leveling the land out and everything, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. Plus whatever he charges me to come in with that mulcher and mulch off that area. But that's my goal, is to try to get that new garage up. I'm kind of hoping I can get that rocking before spring, but I don't know. I don't know if he can forestry mulch and snow. I imagine he can. The thing's on tracks, it's like a kind of like a bush hog, or not a bush hog. It's kind of like a bobcat on tracks, and it's a big mulcher on the front of it. So hopefully he can drive down the hill and start at the bottom, working his way back up, mulching it right down to the ground level. But I want him to come out and take a look at it first, tell me what he thinks about how much time it's going to take, because I know he gets $100 an hour. Yeah, it's a lot like a skid steer. Yeah, I guess you could call it a skid steer. The mulcher on the front is huge. Hi, Wanda, how you doing? But yeah, I want to see if I can get him in here to take care of that for me. So when I start bringing in the fill and stuff, I don't have to worry about dump trucks running into trees or the trees being in the way for the guys to come in and level it out afterwards, which I believe will be done with either a bobcat or a skid steer at the end. That's kind of on my this year goal. Excuse me. But that's all in there. Another thing I've been working on, and it's funny because we're going to be in nice weather starting tomorrow night. And here I am complaining about how cold it is and how much it's been snowing and stuff. Starting tomorrow night up till I think Wednesday or Thursday of this next week, we're supposed to be getting 50, 55 degree days, sunshiny, bright days. And I'm like, yeah, so I got things outside I want to be working on. And hopefully this mulcher guy can come in during those days and get started on it. Well, it's nice out, but I don't know. Yeah, it always sounds like a solid plan, but it's a game plan. It's not a set plan. Hey, Troy. Yeah, so I had a heck of a time coming in here tonight. I don't know. Some of you guys haven't heard this yet, but I had to reset my browser because it wasn't recognizing my camera and it wasn't recognizing my microphone. And then I came in and said, yes, I want to go live on stage. I clicked on go live, and here I am talking to Paul, and Paul can't hear me. I look up and I'm going, okay, wait a minute. Okay, well, now let's hit go live again, see what happens. And then, of course, I had to remember to put my banner in there and all that stuff and tag it out for anybody who wants to join in. Link will be at the top. As long as I know who you are, I'll let you join. But yeah, it's just been one of these things, Today's been one of those days. Every time I try to do something right, I end up having to take 2 steps back and start over again. It's one of the things too, like the seed business. We don't just sell garden seeds. We sell essential oils. We sell our own brand of soap. And I have to package all that stuff. So I spent all morning today doing that, and it's like I haven't done it in so long. I almost forgot how to do it. That's pretty sad. But there's one on there that I watch religiously, and it's I dig 4 or something like that. And I watch his religiously. That guy, he is talented. He's got all the right equipment. And he's the one that actually turned me on to the idea that, yeah, it's better to mulch them than it is to just cut them and drop them. Because if you mulch them, it'll break down faster. So then when you go to add all the dirt on top and stuff as it's breaking down, the whole thing will break down evenly rather than break down where the trees were and leave you with a whole bunch of divots and ruts and everything in your yard. I've been watching that for a while. Yeah, I dig 4, I think is what it is. But yeah, I've been paying a lot of attention to that kind of stuff. And it's not a new idea for me building the garage back there. I've actually been wanting to do it for a while. Money hasn't been available, and it's weird this year. Our seed sales are doing really well right now, but the amount of money we're spending on bringing in new stock and picking up new supplies and paying out for postage and everything else, it's like, wow. I made $10,000 last month, and I've been scraping the bottom of the barrel all month long going, how come I don't have any money in the bank? It's going to get there eventually. I mean, we buy in major bulk, and that's a lot of it. Yeah, well, that's my thing too. I originally thought about bringing in a big backhoe and creating like a 5-foot flat space all the way around the bottom of the hill down there, and then having the guy bring in the big, like your 6-foot by 2-foot by 2-foot or 3-foot by 3-foot cement. They're used for retaining walls, and they interlock. But with his truck, he can only set them out 20 feet. So it'd be one of these deals where I'd have to be at like the halfway point on the hill, where he brings it out as far as he can, lowers it down as far as he can, and then I'd have to get on top of it, hook another chain to it, hook it to the backhoe, and then when the backhoe picks it up a little bit, unhook the truck so he could go back and get the next block while the backhoe was down there setting the blocks. And I thought about that. The blocks are $100 a piece. Yeah, actually, Paul, I am looking to move, but I'm still remodeling the house. And this new garage will add a lot of value to the property. And just going in there and leveling out the land will add a lot of value to the property. When you have a half acre of land and only about maybe 2/3 of that is usable, and you got a house and you got a garage, and of course we got the seed house between them both, and I got my camper and my boat and all that stuff out there too, and along with the chickens, there's no free yard space basically. Plus I got my gardens in the front. So there's really no free space here, and by being able to flatten out stuff out back, that'll make it so that I have more yard space out there, and I can have more areas to do things. And I don't plan on just bringing in fill to do where the garage is going to go. I think once that area is set and ready to go, it'll give me a place where the dump trucks can come in and back over and keep dumping and keep filling the back of the yard going this way, because I still got a lot of yard back there that's just not usable. Actually, we had a pretty high wind the other day, and it kind of blew me away. I heard something go thud, and I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. And I just happened to walk out my back patio door, and we had a big apple tree. I mean, it wasn't like a real good apple tree. It was a crab apple tree, but the deer loved it. They'd wait till the apples start spoiling on the ground and come over and get drunk. But that tree had fallen over, and I was like, wow. That's a big tree. I'm not letting him mulch that. There's no way. I know a lot of people that like to cook on open wood fires, and there ain't nothing better than apple wood to cook on. Yes, I am still considering on moving to Arkansas. I have to finish remodeling the house. Like I say, I want to build this new garage. The main reason I want to build this new garage, and again, it's going to cost me about $25,000 to do the whole thing with the cement pad and all of it. But the main reason why I want that new garage is because I need to be able to use my wood shop. And right now in my old garage where the wood shop is, my employee left me a pretty good disaster area. So once it's available, I've got a guy that's going to bring me a small dumpster, and I'm going to start cleaning that whole garage out as much as I can so I can at least start using the tools. But the whole purpose of the new garage is to move all my good tools into that garage. So when I want to go out and do woodworking, that's all that's in the area. It'll be just my woodworking tools and nothing but woodworking tools. And I've got a lot of them. Yeah, I am, because we bought this property for $90,000 back in 1999, or sorry, 2019. And since then, I've taken the lower back deck and we've turned that into a 4-season room, which could become an extra bedroom type basically. And then the upstairs part of the house, they actually had as living quarters. They were renting it out as like a 1-bedroom apartment. Right now, it's not a one-bedroom apartment. Right now, it's one room is my music room and t-shirt storage area, and the other room is my print shop that used to be the living room. And where I'm sitting right now, this used to be part of the kitchen. And I took the stove out. They had a dishwasher up here. I took that out. I don't want none of that stuff up here, any of it. And actually, I think probably pretty highly that when push comes to shove, most of those cabinets and the countertop and stuff behind me is going to get taken out as well. I'll leave the other cabinets. There's another set over here on the other side of the room. You can't see it, but it's over there. And right now I've got a microwave on there. I've got my convection oven for doing my dye sublimation for like tumblers and stuff. I've got a special blender over there for blending things. And then I've got an air purifier over there because I smoke up here, and I got all the t-shirts in a different room. Of course, the doors are closed to that room. But that takes up the whole counter space. And then above that counter space, there's 2 floating shelves, which I will leave. I like that area. I like that whole area. The only thing I don't like about it is the cupboards at the bottom. They're good cupboards. They're nice cupboards. They have the sliding pull-out shelves on them, but there's no doors on them. So I'm probably going to take some of the oak I've got out in my garage, because they're all oak cabinets, and make new oak doors for those 2 bottom cabinets over there, and stain them with the honey gold or whatever they are to make them match. And then clean off the countertop and whatnot. And then they'll have a place to set a big screen TV and maybe some game systems or whatnot. And then over here they can put their couch or chairs or whatever they want and turn this into like their own little game area. And of course, I've got a full-size refrigerator up here. That's my beer refrigerator. Can't have my beer where it's warm. So, and then from there, the side of the refrigerator going to the other corner over here is the door that goes up into the attic. Really good storage space up there. And then from there, coming back to me, there's a 6-foot table, and that has my security system on it. It also has all the video monitor for my security cameras, not the actual system, of security systems downstairs. And then I've also got my a laser on there. Forget the name of that one. I had to write it down. Yeah, something Fox. I got my laser set up over there that I run off the computer I'm using right now. I haven't used this laser in a long time. I've got another laser like it in my print shop. Yeah, Sean. Oh, I know a lot of people. A lot of people. I mean, we're talking, Brett from Butt Nuggets Homestead. That man, he's offered me to go there and stay at his house, take the camper with me, and just park it in his yard. Then you got Bobby, Pettit River, and then of course Dave Warren and Mike Smith and all those guys down in that area, Gary and Mary Skews, Junk to Gems Homestead, and Back to Good, Rachel and Sean. So all of those guys, I'm friends with all of them. And I'm also friends with people that are in Oklahoma, and I'm also friends with people in Tennessee. Actually, I have a really good friend that moved to Tennessee, and we were just talking the other day on the phone, and he's coming back up here. His wife misses her family, and they all live up here. His family lived down there, so they were down there getting custody of his kids and whatnot. But now they're all coming back up here again. And when he called me, he was like, "Hey, set some money aside." And I was like, "Why?" And he says, "Hi, Ace, how you doing?" I said, "Fine." He says, "Because I'm coming back to New York." I was like, "Why?" Here we are, snow and 22 degrees out, and he's telling me he's leaving Tennessee and coming back to New York. And his reasoning, it made sense. It was 22 degrees and freezing down there too. But his wife misses everybody in her family from up here, so they're coming back up here. And he wants me to set some money aside. That way I can be the nice guy and hire him to come and do some work for me. Well, thank you, Wanda. I appreciate it. So he wants me to save up some work and some money so I can pay him to come back and work for me. He does tree business, and he's looking at doing some tree work for a friend of mine up here. I told him, I says, well, you got options. You work for that guy, you're only going to work 1-2 days a week, if that. But if you work for this other company, it's guaranteed. They're the ones that do the power lines. They're out every day, all year long doing it. Yeah, actually, New York is better than California, but not a lot better. I mean, if you look at what's going on, we got Mr. Penny down there in New York City. They're trying to put in jail for murder for saving everybody on the subway. Well, I think that's kind of a little bit of a messed up deal. I don't agree with it, but again, it's Alvin Bragg's. It's his circus, and he's running it. Here we have high taxes, but they're not as high as out there. We have high gas prices, but they're nowhere near as high. They're talking California, $7 a gallon right now. Here we're like 3.22, so I can't complain too much about the gas. Of course, I have Gas Buddy, so that allows me a big benefit. If you guys don't know what Gas Buddy is, it's a card you carry in your wallet. You attach it to your bank account, and every time you swipe your card as a form of payment at the pump, you save 5 cents per gallon. Or if you want to pay $5.85, I think it is per month, or $5.99 a month now. But if you pay that $5.99 a month off that card, then that gives you the same equivalent as what you would have with the AAA road service. It also gives you 50 cents off a gallon on your first fill up every month. Of course, they know, average new car is only 10 gallons. So if you give them 50 cents off the gallon, you just got your money back for paying the $5 for the card. It's the way I look at it. I'm not one of these guys that goes to the gas station on Tuesday because their gas is 5 cents cheaper than everybody else's and wait in line 2 hours, because I'm only going to save $5. My time is worth more than that. But, to have that in my pocket and just be able to pull it out and use that as my payment source, it's a good savings. Of course, we have Speedway gas stations around here. And if you're a member of Speedway, which I've been a member of for years, you can save anywhere from 7 to 10 cents off a gallon compared to what everybody else driving in off the street's going to pay. So I do the card from Speedway, use that for their points off, and then I use the PayPal as my payment card to get those points off. So I'm saving anywhere from 12 to 15 cents a gallon naturally, and then I save even more that first time I fill up every month. So that's a given for me. That's a given for me. That's like the car wash. We have a car wash in our local town. My post office is in that town. My favorite hang joint is in that town. Right across the road from where Leo works in that town, and they have a car wash. It's called Classy Chassis, and I went to Classy Chassis one day, and the kid came out to me and says, "Hey, you want to do all you can wash in a month?" I was like, "What's that?" And he says, "You pay one price, and you can come here every day. You can come work once a day if you want to, and you just pay once for the whole month." I'm like, "Yeah, I just bought a brand new car. You bet your ass I want to do that." I pay like $32 or $34 a month. If I did an individual car wash there, it's $15. Every time I go to town, these days it was 22 degrees, you won't see me at a car wash. That's just not going to happen. But I was going to town, and it didn't matter if the car was dirty or not. If I had to go to Walmart to get something, I hit the car wash on the way back home. If I had to go to Lowe's to get something, I'd hit the car wash on the way back home. Even if the vehicle wasn't dirty, I'd go to the car wash anyway. It's already paid for. Why not? And then for like an extra $3, they do what they call a salt wash, which they spray the undercarriage of your car with so much water pressure that it literally washes all the salt off from the top and bottom of everything on your car. And I do that, this time of year. I'll be doing it almost every time I go to the car wash. But yeah, I do that kind of stuff a lot. Speaking of doing stuff like that, I came into a deal not too long ago where I have a multi-fuel generator that I use when I go camping, and like I have it available for power outages here and whatnot. I've always only run it on propane because propane burns cleaner, and you don't have to worry about stagnant fuel sitting in the tank, gumming up the carburetor or anything like that. So I've always used it with just straight propane. The problem is that a 20-pound propane tank will only last for 8 hours. Not a bad deal. I mean, we get a power outage, chances are the power's back on in 4 hours anyway, but I'm looking at the long run on this one. I was going through Facebook Marketplace and I found a guy that had two brand new full 60-pound propane tanks for $140. I contacted him. I said, if those tanks really are full with propane, I am interested in both of them. And he's like, yeah, they really are. And he gave me an address to meet him. That was out of my way by a long shot. But while I was paying for them and we were loading them into my car off the back of this truck, he said to me, he says, well, hey, he says, my dad's got a brand new camper just like mine. The reason why I'm selling my propane tanks is because we got a big torpedo tank set up for all the campers that are going to be in that area boondocking. And my dad said that my dad mentioned maybe he wanted to boondock with us this year. So he may be interested in selling his two 60-pound tanks as well. And they're both full of propane. Would you be interested? I was like, yeah, not today, but yeah, definitely. I left there. Now, mind you, I had an hour and a half drive home. I left there, and it wasn't 15 minutes after I left there. He says, if you want to come back and meet me, I got those other two tanks. And I said, dude, I ain't got that money on me right now, you know. I can't just go to the ATM and draw it out because it's not there either. I said, I can do it by the next weekend. And he's like, all right. So that was like 3 days later, I think it was. He called me up on the phone, and he's like, hey, Dave, this is George. And I was like, hey, George, how's it going? He said, hey, my dad really wants to sell these two propane tanks, and if you really want them, you better figure out a way to pay for them now, because if you don't get them right away, he's got another guy that wants them. I was like, all right, well, I can draw another 140 out now. That's fine. And he says, all right, cool. He says, well, I'm going to be in the town next door to yours at such and such a time. I'll be at this parking lot. Meet me. All right, fair enough. Pulled money out. Went to that town, met up with him. Of course, I had to ask directions, where's this parking lot located at? I don't go to that town. Any possibilities in Arkansas? Wanda, I've gone through so many possibilities in Arkansas, it's not even funny, and I'm still eyes open. I'm still eyes open. The last one that I was really excited about was an abandoned campground right there on Blue Mountain Lake. And apparently the guy decided he wasn't going to sell it, or he died and his family took it over or something, because I never got anybody back. Hey, Dennis Green, how we doing, brother? So anyway, I met the kid and I give him the other $140. He gives me the other two propane tanks. Well, if a 20-pound propane tank lasts for 8 hours, a 60-pound propane tank lasts the whole day. So I now have a 4-day supply of backup propane for my generator should we get an extended power outage. And I thought for $280, that's a smoking deal. You know, will we ever get a 4-day power outage? I hope not. We haven't had one yet, but there are areas that do on a regular basis. I mean, come on, look at California. Your neighbor plugs his car into charge and you can't run your air conditioner because they get a brownout. Stupidity is as stupidity does. New York City is just as bad. Actually, to give everybody an idea about how stupid New York City is, they've been pushing everybody to go to EVs. First of all, almost everybody in New York City either owns their apartment or they live in an apartment, but they're all multi-unit buildings. Every one of them, even Trump Tower is a multi-unit building. How many charging units do you think they can put on the side of the road in front of one of those buildings? Not very many. Not very many at all. Actually, New York City only has so many charging stations available right now, and because they've changed over most of their city vehicles, like the little police parking meter vehicles and stuff like that, to electric, those vehicles are always sucking up all the space at the chargers. They even have some of the city vehicles parked on the side of the road that can't get to the charger, and they're going to have to be pushed to the charger to be charged again. On top of that, now they want everybody to buy these vehicles. Well, in New York City, you're not allowed to park on the street, so you have to park in a parking garage. An electric vehicle weighs 2 to 3 times more than a regular vehicle. And the one thing, don't get your heart set on that, Ace. I plan on it. It's just going to take me some time. Plus, I'm waiting on my mom. My mom's 80 years old, and she's not going to be here forever. And I'm not going to abandon her before it's time. So you got all these old parking garages. They're falling apart already with just cars being in them, and they're trying to double and triple the weight inside of them, and it's collapsing the parking garages. Hi, Melvin, Donnie, how you guys doing? So that's stupidity as a stupidity does. You can't charge your car, but they want you to buy one. You can't park it on the street, so you got to park it in the garage that's not built and designed to hold the weight. And then when you put your brand new $180,000 car in there, the garage collapses on it. Now you don't have the car anymore. But hey, you did good. You bought an electric vehicle. Congratulations. The same thing with California. California, you can park anywhere you want. Heck, there's people living on the sidewalks, so that you get down to California. I'm sure if you got an electric vehicle, you don't need to find a parking garage unless you're in a major metropolitan area. But you aren't going to find the charging stations. If you do, they're probably not going to be turned on because there's not enough power in California to be able to maintain the electricity to all the homes that are there already anyway. Yeah, actually, Paul, have been. I just watched one yesterday. It was funny. They weren't just stealing the electricity from people's houses. They were actually going onto the power lines, cutting the power off to the houses when the people were at work, breaking in and stealing all of their electrical wiring and all of their copper piping and everything else. Because I guess out in California right now, copper's going for $4 a pound. That was the reason why they quit making original pennies and they switched over to these new zinc pennies, because you could get a lot of poundage really quick out of a bunch of pennies, to the point where you'd be selling like maybe $2 worth of pennies for $4. Personally, I don't think we should have pennies anymore. I think pennies are garbage. Solar is your friend. Yeah, it can be, but solar. My boss was an engineer from hell, actually. And our plant is 4 stories tall with a big flat roof. Nothing obstructs the sun from shining on it. And we got talking about, why can't we put solar panels on the roof? And it turns out that they say you can recoup the cost of solar within a 10 to 15 year period, but that's not necessarily true, because the solar panels themselves are only made to last about 15 years. So if it takes 15 years to get back the money you spent on your whole system, well, at the end where you finally got that money back, now you got to put it out again, but now the bill's going to be higher and you probably won't have the government incentives to do it. So you're going to be putting out a lot more money. Granted, some of the systems, the longer they've been in business, the better the systems get to be, but not all of them are that way. And some of the panels, if you go out and buy a bunch of used panels right now, you may be able to get 8-10 years out of them. They won't be 100% efficient. They may only be 80 or 60 or whatever. But if you're only paying 20% on the dollar, 20 cents on the dollar to buy them, then that's worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? But it's all the other parts that go along with it too. You can't just drop a solar panel somewhere and say, good, now I got power. You have to have the supply regulations and all that stuff going on to be able to make it so it doesn't overcharge your batteries, and your batteries can supply you with the voltage that you need for your house and all that stuff. And it's expensive. It's very expensive. Actually, just putting in a solar or putting in an electrical panel for an electric vehicle into your own private garage. Now, a friend of mine in Utah just did this, Trenton Alley. They went out and they bought the Rivian truck. It's all electric. They had to have a charging station put into their garage. Now, they don't tell you this on the show, but I learned from them in personal emails back and forth. The Rivian truck was very expensive, but that electrical panel box to set it up in the garage was made by Tesla. And that was another $35,000 to put that in there. And that didn't include the battery packs that go along with it. That was just to put it in so they could plug into a regular electric grid and put out the same power that the car needs to be charged with. Put in the battery banks to run solar to do all that stuff and whatnot would be phenomenally expensive. And for them, I mean, you're in Utah. What are you going to go around cutting all the trees off the top of the mountain so you can get sun shining on you all day long? Granted, their house and their garage probably do have some pretty good views of the sun that would be usable for doing it, but I was told one of the worst parts about putting solar on your house here at my location is I'm working on doing everything I can to increase the value of my property. But if I put solar panels on my roof, I just decrease the value of the property because the next person coming in may not want to maintain that solar system to be able to keep the power coming in off grid. If they don't want to do it, there goes your extra increase in the value of the house that you just created by going in and remodeling the whole thing. So there's a lot of trade-offs on that kind of stuff. Yeah. Keep bragging. It's 26 degrees and heavy snow right now. Although I know you guys haven't been super warm. I've been watching Gumby and Mary and Mike and Lissa and everybody walking around with their battery-operated jackets on from iHood, saying, "Yeah, we're glad we had these guys as a sponsor today because it's pretty freaking cold out. So don't pull no wool over my eyes." Yeah. Excuse me. Leah said to me after the last chickens got killed by the Fisher cat, she says, "No more chickens." I says, "Not where the coop is at anyway." And she's like, "What do you mean?" "I'm going to build a cement pad out back, and I'm going to move that bad boy out around and put it behind the house. It'd be better for me to have it out there anyway." Oh, -8. Yummy. Where are you located at, Wanda? If I bring the coop around the back of the house, it'd be closer to electric, it'd be closer to water. Out there where it's at right now, I'm running a 50-foot extension cord out a window just to get it get power out there. PEI. Oh, understand where that is. Philippine exterior islands. Oh, Prince Edward Island. Okay, I was close. Yeah, you guys keep bragging about your temperatures, Sean. We'll be there. We'll be there starting tomorrow night, going into next week for a while. I don't know how long, but for a while, we're going to be up into the 50s and 55s again. To be honest with you, I forgot where you were at, Wanda. I really did. But now I know where you are. The Philippine exterior islands. Ugh. Yeah, I'm so frustrated about my garage right now, not being able to go out there and do any woodworking at all. I've got so many projects in the works that need me to be able to use the shop that I'm bringing in a small dumpster to clean garbage out of the shop. And like I say, I want to build that new garage. I've got thousands of dollars of brand new tools, all contractor grade DeWalt and different things like that. I want to move them all out to the new garage. So everything in this garage will be just for storage only and nothing but storage. Hi, Arlene. How you doing? If I need fasteners, I can leave them in this other garage, and I've got shelves up to keep them on. But as far as these tools and being able to use the tools and stuff like that, I want to pull them all out and take them to the new garage. And that way I've got room to walk. I've got room to work. I'm not in an area that's totally clustered. Like I say, I'm bringing in a small dumpster at the earliest convenience. I actually talked to the guy on it, and he doesn't have any available right now. And I told him, I said, "Do I need to go out and buy a big tarp?" And he says, "For what?" And I says, "Because I don't want to pay you to haul away snow." And he's like, "Yeah, you probably should." All right, fair enough. And I will. I'll build a big beam across the top of that thing, throw a tarp over top of it, look like it's a boat been wrapped for winter. So the snow all sheds off from it. Nothing goes into it other than what I throw into it because I don't want to pay for snow removal. I already pay for snow removal, but I don't want to do it by paying for the dumpster weight of snow removal as well. I mean, big difference in price. My snowplow guy charges me $40 to come in and clean out a whole parking area for our cars plus two employees' cars or customer cars, and all the way across in front of the garage, which goes back 40 feet. So he takes care of all of that area for me. He even plows right up to the front steps of my house. So that's a pretty good deal. My dumpster guy isn't going to want to do that for me. But that's in the works. I don't know how much that's going to cost. I don't care how much that's going to cost. I'll have the money for it. So I've already been setting money aside for stuff like that. Contingency plans. You've only had light dust and snow. We had about 4.5 inches. Well, up till when I looked out the window earlier. Right now it says we're getting heavy snow, so I'm not real too sure about that. But I called my plow guys. Made an agreement. 3 inches or more, come plow. I called him up yesterday and I said, hey, we're at about 3 inches. And he says, you want me to come plow? And I was like, no, actually, I was calling you to ask you not to come plow. I can get in and out of the driveway with the car just fine. And I really can't see why I would pay you for plowing snow right now, where after this weekend, it's going to all be melting again anyway. So what's the difference in it? Let it melt where it lays. It doesn't hurt my feelings any. But I don't know. It's one of them deals. Yeah, see, I'm not like Mr. Warren, the milkman. I've got hair on my head. It helps keep me warm, although I have to wear a hat because I just had my ears lowered and she left a lot of bald spot in there between my ears and the bottom of my hairline. I'm not complaining. I like it that way. Sean, that would be cool because I remember, I think it was last year. Yeah, I do believe it was last year where all of the kids were sliding down the hill on tote tops and cardboard inside of garbage bags, sliding down in towards the pond where they had that good slope going down in. Yeah, well, Paul, some of us, God gave us brains and the other ones, he gave us hair. I have a feeling we will have a white Christmas. I also have a really good feeling that we might have a very heavy white Christmas. From what I watch Ryan Hall. He's my weatherman. I know a lot of you guys down in Arkansas do too. He's my weatherman, and he's been talking about for my area. So that's true. This week alone, we were supposed to get 6 to 12 inches. We didn't, thank God. He downgraded it 4 to 6 inches, which is about where we're at. Then it's going to warm right back up again, and it'll all be gone, So I'm content with that. I actually wouldn't mind it if it stayed 70 degrees year round. I think that would be awesome. Did you guys see where Doge and President Trump are working to get rid of the daylight savings time flip-flopping of the clocks? I heard that now. I was like, it's about time. Oh my God. When I was working at my regular job, I was on 12-hour shifts, 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off, 5 weeks of days, 5 weeks of nights. And I'll tell you, and it never failed. At the 5th week, I'd be getting used to the shift. Wouldn't need to have an alarm clock set to wake up by or any of that stuff, And then the next week, I'm back to dogging it, having to have an alarm clock all the time and everything else. And I was like, this is bull crap. I told my boss one day, I said, there's nothing worse than getting up in the morning or getting home at night and having to have a bunch of lights on just so you can see your driveway to go out and plow it. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, if I get up in the morning and come to work at 6:30 at night, it's dark. I get out of work at 6:30, it's dark. I have to have my truck parked on the side of the road with the headlights on so I can even see my own frickin' driveway. And he's like, yeah, I never really thought about that. I said, well, it doesn't matter if it's day shift or if it's night shift. It's always frickin' dark. 6:30 to 6:30 is always dark. If I go out and plow the driveway at 5:30 in the morning to be able to leave the house at 6 to be to work at 6:30, it's going to be dark. If I get home at 6:30 and I have to plow till 7, it's going to be dark. Or on the other end, if I get up at 5:30 to go out and plow, to get the car out of the driveway, to get to work at 6:30 at night, it's dark. I get out of work in the morning, 6:30, it's freaking dark. It's like there's no winning. There's no winning. So I'm liking the idea. Get rid of this daylight savings time bull crap. Put it on one schedule and leave it the hell alone. I've never liked it that way. Yeah, I did it for 32 years, Rhonda. I did it for 32 years. 5 weeks days, 5 weeks nights. 5 weeks days, 5 weeks nights. I can't complain. I'm the one that got the whole plant to switch over to the 12-hour shifts. And I'm the one that set the schedule up for how it was going to be. And I also was the one that broke down what shift was going to be working where and when and how many people were on it. So I can't complain. That was my forte at the time because originally they had 3 8-hour shifts. And so Monday morning shift would go in to start the plant up because they shut down every weekend. So Monday morning they would go in and start the plant up, and they'd be half a day getting the plant up and running. And then Friday night, they'd be half the night shutting the plant back down for the rest of the weekend. And my idea of the 12-hour shifts was we weren't making a lot of money. We were down as much as we were up. If we had to do maintenance, we had to shut the plant down during the week to do maintenance. And that, half a shift to start the plant up, half a shift to shut the plant down. If you're going to be down for 12 hours of maintenance, that means you start up the shift in the morning, and then halfway through the night shift has to work on starting to shut it back down so you can do maintenance tomorrow for all the day shifts. And hopefully they can work on getting some of it started back up before the end of the shift, before the next shift comes in and has to take over. So there was a lot of downtime on running the plant that way. And I sat the bosses down and said, look, if we do it this way, we can eliminate one shift. Take the people that are on that shift and spread them over to these 2 shifts. And I drew it all out on paper, Every other week is guaranteed overtime for one shift or the other shift. 8 hours. But the week in between, that's only a 36-hour shift. All holidays were paid out as 8-hour shifts. So that was, planned like that. Holiday pay or vacation time was based on the number of hours you worked in your shift. So if you worked a 12-hour shift and you want to take one day, you just lost your overtime for a 4-day week if that's the part of the week you take your vacation time on. And that would save them paying overtime for that part too. But yeah, I saved them from going bankrupt by doing that. That allowed us to go to, okay, we have 7 days a week we're able to keep running. We actually had to start shutting down we started doing it on Wednesdays because, every other week, one shift works a Wednesday or the other shift works a Wednesday. So we started doing maintenance on Wednesdays. The problem was if something got broken bad enough and they couldn't get it until Friday, it would have to be repaired during Friday day shift because they didn't want Friday night shift starting the plant. That was just their own way of doing it. We'll leave it down for the whole weekend if that's the case. Well, then we lose the whole weekend. So they switched it back over to Mondays. That was our maintenance days. It's guaranteed every Monday morning. The shift goes in at 6:30. They start shutting the plant down, and by 9:30, the plant's pretty much all shut down, and almost all of the maintenance is hired out now. We do some of it ourselves, but most of it's hired out. And so it's just those guys can start working before the plant's totally down on some of the things they need to do. And as the plant gets closer to being totally down, then they can work their way into doing what needs to be done totally. And then it's all on hold. You have a certain length of time that you have to wait. So I think it's 4 to 6 hours. And you have to wait for the maintenance guys to say, okay, you're cleared to start back up again. If they say it's okay and you haven't waited your time slot, you still got to wait that time because it takes that long to dissolve the baking soda out of the system before you start back up putting it back into the system. In other words, you start plugging things up. And yeah, I worked in a baking soda factory. So it was one of the, hey, Wanda, you too. So it was one of those deals where I was just like, they actually put me where after I got hurt, my job going back in was I was going to be in charge of all maintenance in the plant. And I'd be sitting behind the desk, just like I am right now, for 8 or 9 hours a day, maybe 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. I'd be on call, and my job would be just maintain keep the plant running. You know, go out every once in a while, do a walkthrough, look for things that are wrong or whatever, fix them myself or get somebody else to fix them and whatnot, or put it on a schedule to be fixed when maintenance was coming back in the following Monday if they could wait. And I was like, if I can sit at a desk for 10 hours a day there, I can sit at a desk for 10-hour day here. The only difference is here, I can actually sit here and I can watch YouTube videos when I'm not doing other things, you know, paperwork and whatnot. There, I can't do the paperwork. There, I wouldn't be able to watch YouTube videos all the time unless I had my Raycon earbuds in. So then I'd have to watch it on my phone because you can't connect Bluetooth to the computer, you know. I was just like, yeah, no, I'll just stay home. Thanks. I'm glad you offered me my job back doing something different like Tim got. But yeah, no, I'll just stay home. Thanks anyway. I'm 60 years old, you know. I only got 2 years to go anyway before I retire. What do I care? What do I care? I don't pay myself now as much as I did then, but then again, I'm on workman's comp still. They have to make up the difference. And because of that, I make sure I won't pay myself as much as I got paid then. It's easy as that. No, actually, we call them semis. They're only whole trucks if they have a trailer attached to them. All right, well, guys, it's close enough to 9 o'clock. I believe Gillum Farms is still coming on after I am. I will catch you guys next week, I believe. We'll see how it plays out. I may be on, I may not. If I am, I can't guarantee it'll be an hour, but we'll see how far we can get. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, like it, share it, leave a comment. Catch you guys all next week. Peace.